What is going on with Trevon Diggs and the Dallas Cowboys has become one of the most uncomfortable questions of the season. After weeks of uncertainty, the situation only grew more confusing. Diggs publicly expected to return against Minnesota. Instead, he was ruled inactive once again without clarity, leaving frustration on both sides of the discussion. Diggs had been absent for nearly 2 months, recovering from a concussion and a right knee injury. His return appeared imminent late last week. He told reporters he anticipated being back on the field. Saturday's decision contradicted that expectation and immediately raised red flags. "I was upset," Diggs admitted after the game. He watched the loss from the sideline, unable to contribute as Dallas fell 34-26. The optics were impossible to ignore. A star cornerback sidelined while claiming readiness, and confusion began to dominate the narrative. The Cowboys offered mixed messaging. Public explanations varied depending on the speaker. Health culture and standards were all referenced, but none offered complete clarity. The gap between player and organization widened, and questions only multiplied. With 3 games remaining in the season, the timing could not be worse. Playoff hopes are fading. Roster decisions loom, and Diggs' future hangs in the balance, all under intense scrutiny. Jerry Jones draws a firm line. After the loss to Minnesota, owner and general manager Jerry Jones addressed the situation. His message was brief and definitive. "Diggs isn't healthy enough to be out there for us. Period," Jones said. A statement meant to end speculation. Jones' tone left little room for interpretation. Health was presented as the sole factor. No mention of practice habits. No mention of effort or buy-in. Just availability and readiness. However, those words clashed with earlier comments. Throughout the week, head coach Brian Schottenheimer alluded to factors beyond physical health. He spoke about consistency and meeting standards across the board, which complicated the message. That discrepancy fueled outside speculation. Was this purely medical? Or was it cultural? Was Diggs being protected or evaluated under stricter expectations? The answers were unclear. Jones later reiterated disappointment, not just with this season, but with Diggs' availability over several years. Injuries, he said, had played a major role, and patience appeared thin. At the highest level, Schottenheimer's culture test. Brian Schottenheimer has been clear since January. He wants to build what he calls the best culture in professional sports. That vision includes accountability, consistency, and difficult conversations. He has emphasized standards repeatedly, not just for Diggs, but for every player on the roster. From Dak Prescott to Jake Ferguson to Kenny Clark, Schottenheimer insisted Diggs understood the expectations. He revealed the two had a long conversation Saturday, a detailed discussion about standards, roles, and why Diggs would remain inactive. Despite his belief he was ready, "I would never not play a player and not explain to them why," Schottenheimer said. He emphasized transparency and respect while standing firm on his decision, leaving little room for compromise. Yet despite those conversations, Diggs publicly said he still did not understand why he was inactive, a disconnect that underscored just how fractured communication had become. At a critical moment, Diggs speaks out. After the game, Diggs was candid, frustrated, and visibly confused. He said practice had been cited initially as the reason for his inactivity, which he attempted to correct. "This week I showed them what they wanted to see in practice," Diggs said, "and it's still the same result." His words carried resignation, not anger, but disbelief. Diggs explained he no longer felt the decision was within his control, despite showing up daily, despite preparing, despite believing he was healthy. The outcome remained unchanged. "At this point, it's not up to me," he said. "It's really up to them." That statement resonated strongly because it revealed a player feeling powerless inside his own organization. The gap between effort and opportunity had never felt wider, and Diggs' comments only intensified debate about trust, communication, and long-term alignment. Following the decision, Diggs spoke with quarterback Dak Prescott, a moment that highlighted leadership dynamics. Prescott focused on perspective and preparation, not frustration. It was about keeping his head up, Prescott said. He encouraged Diggs to seek clarity, to ask exactly what was expected, and to plan his week accordingly, so nothing would be left ambiguous. Prescott emphasized control, Focus on the process, not the noise. He urged Diggs to align preparation with expectations, even if they were unclear. According to Prescott, Diggs accepted the message, understanding that communication would be essential moving forward if he hoped to return before the season ended. That exchange revealed the locker room's tone, supportive but realistic, acknowledging frustration without allowing it to spiral, at least publicly. A contract that complicates everything. Diggs' situation cannot be separated from his contract history. In 2022, he signed a 5-year, $97 million extension with $33 million guaranteed after back-to-back Pro Bowl seasons. Since that deal, availability has been an issue. Diggs has played just 19 games out of a possible 47 over the last 3 seasons, a staggering statistic. In 2023, he tore his left ACL during a Week 3 practice. Last season, he played 11 games before needing cartilage graft surgery on the same knee, ending his year. Those injuries changed the calculus. For both sides, patience gave way to evaluation, and durability became a central concern. As the Cowboys looked ahead to future roster construction, offseason tension and financial consequences. Tension increased during the offseason when Diggs conducted much of his rehab in South Florida, away from the Cowboys' training staff, a decision that upset the organization. Despite Diggs' comfort level, the team wanted him in Dallas, working directly with its staff. Diggs chose a private facility, led by Dr. Sharif Tabba. That decision strained trust. Behind the scenes, as a result, the Cowboys enforced a $500,000 de-escalator clause, lowering Diggs' 2025 base salary to $8.5 million for failing to meet off-season participation thresholds. A rare but significant move. Diggs opened training camp on the physically unable to perform list. Though he was activated in time for the season opener, his availability remained inconsistent, and the tension lingered. Financial implications now loom larger. Every decision impacts future cap space, and Diggs' contract is no longer insulated by guaranteed money, adding urgency to every move. On-field performance raises more questions. When Diggs did play this season, the results were underwhelming. In 6 games, he recorded 13 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, but no interceptions. More concerning, he generated more pressures than pass breakups, a startling reversal for a player known for elite ball production. The right knee became problematic early. Before the Week 3 game against Chicago, he was cleared only after a pre-game workout, then struggled immediately, giving up a long touchdown. That play was costly and symbolic. Diggs appeared hesitant, playing a different technique within a new defensive system, and confidence seemed shaken. Under new coordinator Matt Eberflus, the Cowboys shifted toward zone coverage, a stark contrast to Diggs' strength in aggressive man coverage, where he built his reputation and career success. Diggs requested a meeting early, asking for more man concepts. The staff listened, but the percentages barely changed. The scheme remained consistent with Eberflus' philosophy. That mismatch created friction. A player asked to adapt within a system not tailored to his strengths at a time when confidence was already fragile. The result was predictably uneven. Diggs did not look like himself, and the defense did not fully benefit from his presence. A lose-lose scenario for both sides. The concussion and IR decision. On October 16th, Schottenheimer opened his press conference with what he called housekeeping, announcing Diggs had suffered a concussion in an at-home accident. Details were never disclosed. Accidents happen all the time, Diggs said, refusing to elaborate. Shortly after, he was inactive against Washington, then placed on injured reserve due to the knee issue. That move sidelined him for 4 games and further clouded his timeline. The Cowboys opened his practice window on November 30th, giving themselves a limited window to make a decision. If Diggs is not activated by Saturday, he will revert to injured reserve, ending his season officially without another snap. A stark possibility, given recent events. The business reality sets in. Speaking on 105.3 The Fan, Jerry Jones denied financial motives behind Diggs' inactivity, but the numbers are unavoidable. If Diggs is released in 2026, Dallas would save $12.558 million, with major decisions looming, including a potential extension. For wide receiver George Pickens, cap flexibility is critical. The Cowboys are already tight against future limits. Jones admitted disappointment publicly, not only with this season, but with Diggs' availability overall. Injuries, he said, have defined recent years, more than performance. When asked if Diggs would play out his full contract, Jones declined to speculate, saying he did not need to address that now. A telling non-answer. At a pivotal moment. A final question with no answer. 3 games remain. But Saturday is the real deadline. The moment when Diggs' fate for 2025 will be sealed, activated, or shut down. There is no middle ground. After the Minnesota loss, Diggs was asked if fans would see him again. "I hope so," he said. A simple answer, heavy with uncertainty and frustration. That hope defines the situation. A player wanting opportunity, an organization weighing risk, and a season slipping away under the weight of misalignment and unanswered questions. Whether Diggs wears number 7 again remains unknown. But one thing is clear. This is no longer just about health. It is about trust, direction, and the future of the Dallas Cowboys.